Okay, good morning. This is day 89 of making videos of describing a day or thought in the life of Schizophrenic Dominic. I make these videos to describe some sanity that I have amidst the world going crazy and turning things around, saying I was crazy or insane. I experience schizophrenia is a reality to be experienced, but I do not believe that I am crazy or diseased. And I believe I've had schizophrenia inflicted on me. In day 17 of these videos, I explain why I describe myself as a schizophrenic rather than targeted individual. And in day 45, I have a 3-minute intro where I posit why I make these videos in the first place. And it's somewhat done to document some synchronicity in life and through time, and document some of my thoughts processes which could have gotten me targeted. And so yeah, and just to go in some of the feedback that I get as a schizophrenic. In medium.com, I put on pinned posts and stuff. It has my book, which was called Unveiling the Schizophrenic Tradition, and it is free. And for now, maybe I might publish it, but for now it's free and it's on medium.com. It's about done. I finished some chapters and put it there. Okay, so today, some thoughts that I was going to that I had today was I was reading out of my Language Older Than Words book by Derrick Jensen. And I've read a couple of his other books a long time ago, like decades ago. I picked up this one. I've had it in my bookcase, and I just decided to pick it up. And he argues that revolutions fail because relationships are not central. As I understand it, what I read today, maybe I hope I get this right. I think he's saying that revolutions fail because relationships are not central, and producers take and are given what was typically could go to a community. So like even in communist revolutions or other types of revolutions, the producers take from the community. So uh, it's instead of the community getting the goods or services or whatever, it's taken, it's given away to somebody else, and that is due to a lack of relationship, I guess, between the community and the producer. And he argues, I believe, if I have this right, that any sort of revolution that is successful or any sort of creation that has a successful society, you're going to have some amount of siphoning from the rich to the poor. And that goes antithetical to our idea of private ownership in this country. You know, someone like Elon Musk, it's horrible for him if, you know, some of that money gets siphoned off to poor people. And as you see right now in the government, they're axing things in the government because, you know, poor people shouldn't get what rich people have or something. You know, it's a system of privileges, and we're all competing, and the losers lose and the winners win. And to me, that's the problem, is the competition. But yeah, so anyways, Derrick Jensen was saying uh, relationships are should be central, and I was thinking, like, in my program, the mind control program, they tried to break down and neutralize you and ruin your relationships with other people and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I mean, that's it. If you want a revolutionized society, your relationships with people are going to be the basis for that revolutionized society. And uh, they turn it around and say, like, no, your relationship is to the revolution and not to your fellow family member or friend or anything. And it's like, you know, that's I don't know. That's like it's like a prison. It's like a prison ex- prison experiment that goes on in the mind control. And I'll get into that in a minute. But I was reminded of, the Democrats are coming and they're saying join us and everything, and it's like, I was reading some ideas that people could do to get involved and to take action against this kind of fascist takeover. And one of the guys was saying, take up arms, and people. That's what some people are saying, like take up arms and stuff. And I was thinking, like, the dismantling of this government started with running 80-year-olds as candidates, and I was thinking that uh, Project 2025 has been it's a 900-page project to take over the U.S. government. I don't think that was created haphazardly over the past 2 years or something. It was probably put into place a long time ago, and or it's been in the works for a very long time, probably decades even. And it's like unless they had AI Chat GPT write the program or something. I don't know if the Chat GPT could do that, but I don't know. Anyways, so it's probably a decades old program to take over the U.S. government. And knowing what I know about mind reading technology and stuff, the Democrats probably knew this was coming. And it makes you wonder, it's like very suspicious that you ran 80-year-olds for the presidency for the past 5 years. And it's just a little bizarre that that's the tact you would take when you had this takeover, this fascist takeover of the U.S. government looming, and you didn't even hold primaries, and now you're telling people to arm up in the streets and fight back, take the streets and fight back. And like that's a little weird behavior from a political party that's in a democratic society, and supposedly it's all about democracy. And so it's I just find it a little bizarre. And I was actually reminded of Wesley Clark, a Democrat, a few years ago, going on TV and saying that he wanted to create uh, internment camps for dissidents, to that they would be stuck with the anti-terror internment camps for dissidents in the country, and he was saying that's what you should do. And I don't know if he was playing a part, but that's you know that's a Democrat saying that. So authoritarianism runs across the political aisle here, and some of this fascism is birthed out of democratic minds. And so, when we choose our methods of responding to these people, we should choose wisely, because I personally think what Trump is doing right now, he's going way overboard, and it's almost like he's trying to entice a civil war. And that's how I think, but I don't know. Uh Anyways, so back to the idea of internment camps and stuff like that. I participated in Occupy, and that's was one of the things that sparked my schizophrenia and clamped down on me, because I spotted plainclothes protesters working with uh, the police, and they signaled me on the gun. One guy he's a bald white guy, and he had a mask. And when we were rounded up into a Bank of America area at a big protest, he signaled to the guy on the rubber bullet gun. He went like this and pointed at me. He went like this, and I saw him do it. And so they were upset that I spotted them. And I was so confounded by the vastness. I've put this in my book or whatever, but I was so confounded by the vastness of the conspiracy here, as I had experienced cops threatening me on the highway and threatening to run me off the highway, which is actually a tactic of a uh, it's actually a tactic of some group, some police group called the Banditos of East LA Sheriff's Division. It's a police deputy gang or something. Anyways, the point I'm making in here is I'm reading a David A. Hughes book. He talks about there was mobile mind control shock troops that were sent out to neutralize people that were involved in political or activism in the 60s and 70s. And I believe that that took place with me because I was just participating politically. And he describes that the goal was to neutralize people in with assassinations and things of that nature. And this all comes out of Vietnam and the hamlets that they could put people in to try to identify leaders that they could put into positions and to neutralize other people. And so they identified leaders that they they pushed up the chain, and it, they started it with these like psychological operations in these hamlets, these controlled villages. And I was thinking, like, Occupy itself was kind of like a controlled psychological operation the whole time, and they were like whispers of like they're gonna raid the camp, they're gonna raid the camp and everything. And it was people starting fights, people doing all these things, and it was just, now on the one hand it was very nice because it was like an alternative form of the government, an alternative form of political control or whatever, because it was like all consensus building, and it was all like people here having voices and stuff. So that was all kind of nice. But it was in Occupy Los Angeles, for instance, it took place right across the street from the police station. And so it's like it's it's a little weird to set up political shop next to a police station, but it was on the it was on the uh city hall ground. So I don't know. Anyways, I thought that was those things. I just participated, and I'm just giving you my observations from one person and what my thoughts are as an outsider. And so that was my thoughts on it. But 99 supporting 99% of people versus 1%, that was all good rhetoric, I think. And that was all good. So yeah, uh, I have mixed feelings on it because my life got destroyed because I participated in it. And I guess my life was already being destroyed. And with the schizophrenia, you actually realize like this whole thing was maybe a trap to try to take me out, you know? And so then that's like, why do I want to go to protest now if like the whole thing was some sort of weird trap that's potentially part of an intergalactic weird money changer guys and stuff like that. And so, uh, anyways, David A. Hughes talks about how global shock troops were used to neutralize global or mobile shock troops were used to mind control shock troops were used to neutralize people in the 60s and 70s, and that goes on today. And I experienced that with my life, and that's the schizophrenia. Basically, mobile shock troops follow me around. And he also discusses in this book that drugs were used to subdue populations. Drugs were used to subdue populations that were taking direct action against the U.S. government and turn everybody into zombies. And so the drug culture was largely based out of the CIA, and they put that on people. And I actually read that in my book by Dave McCowan, the weird scenes in the canyon and stuff. And so, and we know that the CIA brought drugs into black communities to try to disrupt anti-war and anti-racist black people that were fighting for civil rights and stuff. So, uh, yeah. Anyways, now I'm on a drug for schizophrenia, so it's probably making me more cooperative. But yeah, I still have my mind a little bit, so all right. I gotta stop here. I was kind of rambling at the end, so all right. Thank you so much. Goodbye.